You are going through something heavy. Maybe it's been weeks, maybe months, and your friends have no idea. Not because they are bad friends, not because they don't care, but because every time they ask how you are, the words slip out before you even think, I'm good, just tired. And they believe you, because why wouldn't they? You've gotten very good at this. The right smile, the right tone, that light laugh that says, nothing to see here. But here is the strange part. You want them to know. Some part of you is almost waiting, hoping they look a little closer, ask a second question, see right through the performance. And when they don't, when they just say, oh, good, glad to hear it, and move on, something sinks. A little confirmation of something you already suspected. I am alone in this. But then, why did you hide it? Why do you keep hiding it from the very people who could help? You'll say it's because you don't want to be a burden, because you don't want to make things awkward, because you can handle it yourself. But that's not the whole truth. There is something else happening, something you learned a long time ago, something that taught you that showing difficulty isn't safe, even with people who love you. And until you see this clearly, you will keep building walls while wondering why nobody visits.
You weren't born this way. Nobody is born knowing how to hide. Children are the opposite. They cry loud, they complain immediately, they say, I'm sad, without calculating the impact. Vulnerability is the default state. So what happened? At some point, you tested the waters. You brought something difficult to someone, a fear, a sadness, a confusion, and the response wasn't what you needed. Maybe it was minimization. You came home after a horrible day at school. Someone laughed at you or ignored you, or you felt invisible in a way that hurt your chest, and you tried to tell someone, and you heard, oh, that's nothing, you won't even remember it tomorrow. But you did remember, for weeks, and you learned, what hurts me isn't big enough to hurt out loud. Maybe it was discomfort. You cried in front of someone, and you saw it on their face, that slight recoil, that rush to change the subject, that don't be like that, which wasn't affection, it was a request. Please stop, I don't know what to do with this. And you understood, my pain bothers people. It makes them feel bad. I'm responsible for not causing that. Maybe it was immediate fixing. You hadn't even finished speaking and it came. You just need to do X. Have you tried Y? That's easy to solve. The person wanted to help, truly, but the message that landed was, I am not here to listen. I am here to fix. And if I can't fix it, I don't know why you're telling me. You learned, I can only bring problems that have solutions. Pure pain without a practical answer is inconvenient.
None of these moments were dramatic trauma. It wasn't abuse. It wasn't explicit rejection. It was just the normal way people respond. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. But for you, for someone who feels things a little deeper, someone who needs a different kind of listening, it was enough. It was enough for you to start editing. First, you edited the intensity. If you were destroyed, you said you were kind of bummed. If you were in a panic, you said you were a little anxious. You learned to translate your experience into a version that fit into other people's comfort zones. Then, you edited the frequency. You couldn't bring up heavy stuff every week, so you stored it, waited, until the thing passed on its own or got too heavy to carry. And finally, you edited the existence of the feeling itself. Someone asked, "How are you?" and you answered, "Good." And you almost believed it, because the lie had become automatic, because it was easier, because you had practiced so much It didn't even feel like a choice anymore. It was just who you were now. The person who is always fine, who can take it, who doesn't need anything. The person nobody bothers asking twice because the first answer is always convincing. And the saddest part? It worked. You stopped bothering people. You stopped seeing that discomfort on their faces. You stopped feeling like too much. But you also stopped being seen. And now you are here, going through something real, something heavy, surrounded by people who love you, and completely alone. Not because they failed, but because you got too good at not needing them.
So here is what nobody tells you. Your friends don't know you are suffering not because they don't care, not because they are distracted, not because friendship these days is superficial. They don't know because you got too good at hiding. The mask you built to protect yourself, to not be a bother, to not be too much, to avoid seeing that discomfort on people's faces, that mask works. It works too well. So well that now it doesn't protect you anymore. It isolates you. The same mechanism that spares you from judgment is what locks you out of connection. The same "I'm fine" that avoids the difficult conversation is what guarantees you will keep carrying it alone. And the problem isn't that you need to open up more, as if it were just a matter of courage. The problem is that you built an entire system around hiding, a system with deep roots, with automatic reflexes, with invisible tests that nobody knows they are taking. And until you see this system functioning, you will remain trapped in it, thinking the world doesn't care, when in reality, you never let the world get close enough to try.
It's Friday night. You've been lying in the dark for 3 hours. Not sleeping, just existing. The ceiling is the only thing you can face. Your phone buzzes. A text from a friend. "Hey, what's up? Haven't seen you in a bit." Your fingers type before your brain processes. "All good, just super busy, crazy week." Sent. You didn't even hesitate. You didn't even think about answering differently. The "all good" came out like a reflex, like blinking, like breathing, automatic. And the person replies, "Oh, gotcha. Get some rest. We'll talk soon." Conversation over. And you stay there, in the dark. Only now there is an extra layer of something you can't quite name. Here is what happened in that moment. So fast, you didn't even notice. You lied. Not out of malice, not out of manipulation, but you lied. You said you were fine when you weren't, and the person believed it and went away. And two things happened simultaneously inside you. First, relief. Thank God they didn't push. Thank God I don't have to explain. Thank God I can stay here in peace. Second, abandonment. They didn't even notice. They didn't ask again. Do they really care? Does anyone care? These two things don't make sense together. You want to be left alone, and you want someone to see through the fake peace. You want the "I'm fine" to work, and you feel hurt when it does. But that is exactly how the trap operates.
The problem with the performance isn't just that it hides the truth from others. It's that it starts to hide the truth from yourself. When you say, "I'm fine," 1,000 times, a part of you starts to believe it, or at least starts to doubt. Am I really doing that bad? Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. The mask sticks. You put it on to protect others from your weight, but after a while you forget it's there. You forget what your face looked like underneath. You forget that there is a you that isn't okay, because that version of you never has permission to exist out loud. And then when someone finally asks, for real, no, but how are you really? You freeze, because you don't know anymore. The I'm fine performance is too efficient for your own good. It spares you from difficult conversations. It spares you from being a burden. It spares you the discomfort of needing others. But this is the price. You become increasingly alone, increasingly invisible, increasingly convinced that nobody cares, when in reality, nobody knows they should care, because you never let them know.
You don't ask for help directly. Almost never. You don't walk up to someone and say, I'm in a bad place. I need to talk. Can you listen? That would be too much, too direct, too vulnerable. What if they say no? What if they get uncomfortable? What if you become that person, the one who always has problems, the one who is needy? So you do it differently. You give signals, little openings, phrases dropped in the middle of conversation that aren't requests, but invitations. Like, I've been kind of tired lately. This week has been weird. I don't know, just feeling a bit off about things. And then you wait. You wait for the person to notice there is something underneath. You wait for them to ask the second question. You wait for them to dig a little deeper. Say, what do you mean? Show they actually want to know. If they dig, maybe you'll tell them. If they don't dig, done. Test concluded. Result, they don't care enough. The problem is that the person didn't even know they were being tested. To you, that I've been kinda tired was a door left ajar, a chance, a calculated risk. To them, it was just a sentence, normal, the kind everyone says. I'm tired, tough week, busy at work. This is the background noise of adult life. Most people say this without meaning anything by it. So when your friend replies, yeah, me too, I'm exhausted, this month is intense, and changes the subject, they aren't rejecting you. They aren't ignoring your suffering. They simply didn't know there was suffering there. You hid it too well. And then you punished them for not finding what you hid.
This isn't your fault. It's not a character flaw. It is a protection mechanism that makes complete sense. Asking for help directly is risky. If you ask and they say no, the rejection is explicit, undeniable. There is no way to pretend it didn't happen. But if you only give a signal and they miss it, you can tell yourself that they are the ones who don't care. It's their fault. You tried in your own way and they failed. It's safer. It protects your ego. It protects you from hearing no to your face. But the cost is that you never give the person a real chance to say yes. Think about the times you concluded that someone didn't care. How many of those times did you actually ask for something? How many times did you say with clarity, I need you? Or did you stay waiting for them to guess, to read between the lines, to notice what you worked so hard to hide? The uncomfortable truth is this: most people are not good at guessing, not because they are cold, but because they are busy, distracted, dealing with their own things. They need you to say it. And when you don't say it, when you just give signals and wait, you are playing a game that nobody else knows they are playing. And then you resent them when they lose. You have spent years accumulating evidence that nobody cares. But maybe that evidence is contaminated. Maybe the problem isn't that people failed you. Maybe it's that the test was invisible from the start.
You hide because you are afraid of being a burden. This is the original fear. The fear learned way back when you tried to open up and saw discomfort on someone's face. The fear that says, if I show I'm not okay, I will be a nuisance. I will be too much. I will make people pull away. So you hide to protect others, to protect the relationship, to protect yourself from rejection. But here is what fear doesn't tell you. Hiding creates exactly what you are trying to avoid. It works like this. You hide that you are struggling. Your friends, seeing only the surface, assume you are fine. Why wouldn't they? You smile, reply to texts, show up when plans are made. Everything seems normal. Because you are fine, they don't worry. They don't dig deeper. They don't check if you need anything. It's not neglect, it's just that there is no signal that they should do otherwise. Time passes, you keep hiding, they keep not asking. And then, in the silence, the voice in your head starts. See? Nobody asks, nobody notices, nobody cares. And this conclusion, nobody cares, becomes one more reason to hide. Why open up if nobody gives a damn? The wall gets higher, the isolation gets deeper. Brick by brick, silence by silence. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You believe you will be rejected if you show you are struggling, so you hide. And because you hide, nobody knows you need something. And because nobody knows, nobody offers. And because nobody offers, you confirm, I knew it. Nobody cares. The belief creates the behavior. The behavior creates the evidence. The evidence strengthens the belief. The cycle closes, and you stay trapped inside. But, and this is important, the cycle started with a premise you never truly tested. If I show I'm struggling, people will pull away. Are you sure about that? Or did you just assume it based on some old experiences and never verify it again?
Think of a friend of yours, someone you actually like. Now imagine that this person is going through something difficult, something heavy, real, and doesn't tell you. They hide it, pretend they are fine, and you only find out months later by accident. What do you feel? Probably not relief, not thank God they didn't bother me. It's something more like sadness, maybe even hurt. Why didn't they tell me? I would have helped. I wanted to be there. You wouldn't think they are a burden. You would think they are your friend, and that friends tell each other these things. So, why do you assume others would think differently about you? Why are you the only one who would be too much, the only one who would be a nuisance, the only one who doesn't deserve to take up space in someone's concern? The self-fulfilling prophecy isn't just about behavior. It's about a story you tell yourself. A story that says you are different, that your pain is less legitimate, that you need to earn the care you would give freely to anyone else. That story is a lie. But as long as you believe it, you will keep building walls, and you will keep wondering why nobody enters, without realizing that you were the one who locked the door.
So, how do you get out of this? Not with a dramatic decision to open up to everyone right now. Not with a giant confession that leaves you too exposed, too vulnerable, regretting it the next day. The path is smaller, simpler, and it starts with one thing: awareness. First, the detector. How do you know if you're hiding? Because sometimes you don't even notice. It's become so automatic, it just feels like who you are. Here are 3 signs. Sign 1, the answer that comes before the thought. Someone asks how you are. The words, I'm good, leave your mouth before you even consider the question. You didn't choose to answer that. The reflex chose for you. If this happens, you are on autopilot. The mask is operating on its own. Sign 2, the relief when they believe you. The person accepts you're all good and changes the subject, and you feel relief. A part of you relaxes. Thank God I don't have to explain. Thank God it passed. This relief is a signal. It says, you didn't want to be seen right now. That's okay. Sometimes we really don't want to be. But if the relief comes every time, with everyone, then it's not a choice, it's a pattern. Sign 3, the resentment when they don't notice. You gave a signal, small, but you gave it, and the person didn't catch it. They didn't ask more. and you felt a pang of hurt. They didn't even notice. They don't even care. If you feel this, it means you wanted to be seen, but you didn't let yourself be. You ran the invisible test and got angry when the person failed a test they didn't know existed. These 3 signs are your map. They show when the system is running, when you are hiding without realizing it. Second, the mechanism. You don't need to dismantle the whole mask. You don't need to become a different person. You just need one thing: to break the automatic pilot. Here is how. The next time someone asks how you are, wait 3 seconds before answering. That's it. 3 seconds, in silence, without letting the answer slip out on reflex. It seems silly, but those 3 seconds do something important. They create a space between the stimulus and the response, a space where you can, for a moment, choose. On autopilot, there is no choice. Question in, answer out, direct, without you in the middle. With the 3 seconds, you put yourself back in the equation. You have the chance to ask, wait, how am I really? Sometimes, after the 3 seconds, you will answer, I'm good, anyway, because it's true, or because it's not the right time, or because it's not the right person. That's fine. The difference is that now it was a choice. But sometimes in those 3 seconds, something else emerges, something more honest, something like, I'm going through a weird phase. I don't know, this week has been hard. Honestly, I'm not doing too great. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be the whole story. It's just a door, small but open. Third, the action. Pick one person, just one. Not the person you think you should tell, like your parent or your oldest friend or whoever makes sense in theory. Pick the person you feel might handle listening, the person who, when you imagine telling them something difficult, doesn't give you a knot in your stomach. It could be a newer friend. It could be someone you aren't even that close to, but who has a safe vibe. Trust that instinct. And the next time that person asks how you are, try not to perform. You don't need to tell them everything. You don't need to cry. You don't need to vent for an hour. Just don't lie. See what happens. See how they respond. See if the world really ends when you let someone see that you aren't okay. It probably won't. Probably, maybe, you will discover that some people want to be there, if you let them.
Your friends don't know you're suffering, not because they don't care, not because they are distracted or selfish or shallow, but because you taught everyone, without realizing it over the course of years, that you are always fine, that you don't need anything, that you can handle it alone. The mask works. It works too well. And now you're trapped on the inside, surrounded by people, yet alone, wanting to be seen, but doing everything to remain invisible. Turning this off is scary. Of course it is. You spent so much time building this wall that you don't even know what exists on the other side. You don't even remember what it's like to let someone in for real. But the same wall that protects you is what keeps you isolated. The same performance that spares you the discomfort is what condemns you to carry everything alone. At some point, you will have to choose: stay safe and invisible, or risk being seen. The door is small, but it's there, and you don't need to kick it wide open. Just leave it ajar.